Hi, everybody. I am so excited because today starts our journey listening to Fontaine of Below, Disc 1, Chanson of Justice and Impartiality, as we will eventually move into Disc 2 and Disc 3, and then the other albums from this latest year of Genshin Impact. I'm really excited. If you don't know me, my name is Marco Meepo. I love talking about, analyzing, and discussing video game music from an emotional perspective, and I'm really excited to spend the next hour with you breaking down and discussing and listening to some of these wonderful tracks from Fontaine. Let's get started, shall we? There's been a lot of discussion about whether or not Fontaine's music and the music of Genshin will suffer because Yu Peng Chen is no longer at the forefront and no longer composing these pieces. And I would say that Fontaine was a resounding example of how the answer to that question is they're going to be just fine. This music is still very good. There are some things that I didn't necessarily like as much as some of the older renditions of Genshin's soundtrack, especially when we talk about Liyue and Sumeru. That said, I do believe that Hoyomix is in great hands, and I think that the prime example of this is the main theme of Fontaine. We hear this main theme of Fontaine many, many, many times as we move through the Fontaine acts and throughout the different regions of Fontaine. And the main theme itself is so melodic and so thematic, and I'm excited to break it down with you. There's so much to like about this, isn't there, chat? There's so much to like about this. It's really impressive how we start with that glass that glass harmonica, which I'd never heard before, and it really gives it a sense of, obviously it gives it a sense of being underwater, but it also just gives it this majesty of like sort of not knowing what's going to happen. And so much of what we experience when we are in Fontaine is the sense of mystery. What's going to happen at every corner? And it's one of the reasons why I feel that Fontaine is like peak Genshin Impact, really fun, really worth exploring, really worth experiencing, because there's like a constant thread. There's almost not a lot of time besides, Act 2 was not good. Fontaine gives us this feeling of like not knowing what's going to happen. And so as we continue to move through each act, you never really know where you're going to turn. And I think that that's already highlighted right away. Whatever the Fortress of Meripede was, because, oh my lord, I can't stay quiet about that. Obviously, then we're also getting connections to Farina and Focalors in there as well. But the real draw here is just how mysterious it sounds. You know what I mean? Music is too low. Also, it's live. It's just, I don't like wasting VODers time by like being like, hey chat, hi chat, how are you doing? I'm really excited. It also helps the VOD process as we edit down. So it may have seemed corporate, but it's just, me just being professional. And I love the accordion soundscape in here too. Lots of winding. Of course, we have this speeding up section, but we never lose sight of the motif. And then we pull all the way back, right? So that's really fun too, because we have this building up section, we have this movement, and then we pull all the way back, and it's like, oh, it's like almost like hands off. You know what I mean? So it's fun because we have this moving up, and then there's something that really happens that's really nice here around 54 seconds, or let's do 47 seconds. Right here. Nice. We go into the lower register here. Let me add this. Pick up here. You're right there. I love that. Yada, yada, yo. I love that little motif there. And then we pull all the way back. It's fun. And then we get into this. This is that real, like, that feeling of plodding and dancing, and the inert mystery in this is with this harpsichord and doubling with the piano. You also get the glass harmonica back there too. Now we're in a true waltz. 1, 2, 1, 2. Nice descend down into locking in, right? Beautiful piano swelling in here if you listen. Horns come in, really slam it. But it's really a piano show in the background there. Guitar in there, and then the chorus comes in. And you really feel that boom ba boom ba boom ba, right? And this is the trial, right? And you hear that's really fun. Listen to the way that we also ba 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 ya, right? That's really fun too, because we get that really big swell. Ba 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 ya. That's such a nice little musical gesture there that's worth paying attention to. Obviously, here we have this, like, you know, and then underneath, it's like this bubbling sensation, right? Same thing with the accordion. Now we're just playing pickup. Nice guitar that comes in, a mandolin that comes in. Now we have the viola. Maybe it's a violin, actually. The castanets. We're just taking turns now. It's building though. It's slowly getting louder. Chorus. And then listen to the cello line underneath. This is really interesting. As I'm listening to this, there's little details that come out to me as I'm noticing them. But listen to the way that the cello underneath. So we have the singers going, ah, but underneath there's the cello. That's that like air of mystery and that air of danger, especially in the cello. I imagine like the scene when Linny is, we're doing the first of the first trial, but the magic show before the trial, where we don't know what's going to happen. Is the person going to be in the other box or whatever? You know what I mean? Again, still we have that short, long, big beat emphasis. All right, listen to the cello. We're still getting accented beats there in the lower breath. Nice swelling. Now we have the piano taking over. Nice big emphasis. Still just variations on a theme, basically. Like taking over different instrumentation. Piano's all the way in the upper register as we glissando all over the place. We bookend it. And I think that at the end, that's really the thing that makes it like, hey, that's all cool in between this. But the real crux of this is the sensation of that glass harmonica, that mystery, and that like, ooh, what's actually going on here beneath the surface? You know what I mean? That's where we really get that sense of like, what's actually happening? And yes, thank you for the reminder. I do need to change that thumbnail because it is not the baguette one, but that was a placeholder while we waited. So hold on. It's nice to see so many of you. Good morning. Normally this stream would be later in the day, but I have a session later at the normal time, so I can't do it now. Is the baguette real? No. It is not real, as far as I know. It could have been. All right, let us keep going, shall we? Pretend that never happened. Hey, Sammy, what's up? Le souvenir avec le crépuscule. Crépuscule. More of the same. Slightly slower tempo. I quite like this rendition too. A little bit more bubbling tension here, I'd say. More vocals, of course. It's incredible to feel what a pianist does, you know? In a way, it's brighter, too. Still get that harpsichord in the background, too. And again, the sustaining quality there really gives it the sensation of what's going to happen. You know what I mean? Ballade of Many Waters. All right, and this is Fontaine's like main. I think there's a like general brightness in this, isn't there? Especially that little gesture right there is nice. Oh yeah, you're bored? See you later. A nice little drum set pops in. That's really fun. Just a small little like, I don't, almost like a jazz rhythm, but not quite. But the doubling here in the violins is so genuinely wonderful. This section's really beautiful because it's, I believe it's polyrhythmic. Yeah, they're like dancing almost. There's a lot of dance, obviously. And then we swell into this. Right? A lot of push and pull. and then a pullback and diminuendo and then this is very bright and warm. This is really fun. And then it strips away and we get back to like individual instruments highlighting. Big swell, big. Yeah. It's a nice simple little piece, isn't it? And the City of Mellifluous Glory. I believe this is the night theme, isn't it? It's got to be because of the gentle quality in there. Ah, this is day. Now it's like purely mandolin, which has such a, again, an effervescent vibe to it, you know? This is a little bit of that classic Italian soundscape, which is interesting because we know that Fontaine is not just French inspired. It's so rare to hear a guitar and a mandolin duetting together. And then we get the accordion, and of course the drum set comes back in. It's a really small ensemble, but it gives such a nice sound quality, right? It really feels like the sun is rising in the corner, right? Da, da, da. Such a common resolution there. Nice. Again, a little bit of call and response in there too. And then we pull all the way back with just the violins. Nice violin there, and casual melodic rhythmic pattern, I should say. Ooh. Love that. Love the sliding in there. It's a little bit messy. It's perfect. And that's something to really take note of too. In general, when we have really nice resolutions and pieces, right? It really resolves, and that's a really nice thing to take note of because they're not. These tracks loop, right? But there's a really nice actual like button on it, which is really fun because it really feels like a properly condensed piece of music. One of the things that I really like about Fontaine's soundtrack is the fact that a lot of it is joyful, peaceful listening. There are obviously intense tracks. There's no way we can deny that. And yet, a lot of these tracks, maybe even too many of these tracks, are really welcoming, really calm, really bright. And I think it highlights a couple things. I think it highlights the bright blue waters. It highlights the bright green grass. It highlights the beautiful mountain peaks. It highlights the pretty birds. It's all about the aesthetic of the environment. Obviously, these tracks have been about Fontaine, and Fontaine itself is a clean city. It's got the beautiful waterways. It's got the functional systems in place. It's got the warmth of the French people. Question mark? Are French people warm? I'm just teasing. They are warm. There's an essence there of bright and peace and serene. Exactly. And it's really, really, really neat. And I like that a lot of these pieces, that's really the priority there, rather than having it be of heaviness. It's a very welcoming environment, which is really fun. You know what I mean? A leisurely day in Fontaine. Nice. You see that long sustained string there, and then boom. But the soundscape is fantastic. Beautiful guitars in basically every track. Really nice horn in there. Trumpet. And the trills do a really good job of that too. Listen to that. Let's just rewind a little bit. And just so you're aware, for those of you that are just coming in, welcome in. It's so great to have you. Good morning. What we're doing with this is we're only going to be listening to disc 1. The goal here is to listen to as much as possible, talk as much as possible, and really try to have a full OST analysis. I find that I tend to peter out after about 10 tracks, and this one is 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12 13 14 15 16 17 18 19 21 22 25 26 27 29 tracks. I'll do my best to continue, but at one point we'll probably just end up just relaxing and vibing, and if something really stands out to me, I'll bring it up. But so we're going to be doing this in bite-sized chunks. That way it's more digestible for you as well. And if someone would do me the incredible pleasure of keeping track of timestamps, that would mean the absolute world to me, just because I don't have the time to do the timestamps right now. So yeah, the trills are a quintessential piece of writing in music. Whatever, usually you'd get it in like a usually in a classical thing. It's very common in Mozart, of course, or the bel canto time period in Italy, which was in the featuring the bel canto composers were Bellini, Verdi, and Donizetti. Those were the three big ones. There were others as well, but so we use trills. It's very, 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 very melodic and very. It also can tell a lot about an emotion. Right? It's very. There's an inherent quality in a trill of a re-emphasis or a need to re-articulate that really, and I think it fits really well for a song that's about a leisure day, if that makes sense. I also love the right there. You hear that trill? That tells a lot. Love that rhythm there too. It's like a laugh almost. It's laughter. It's joy. It's a bright sun in the sky. That's such a fun rhythm there, isn't it? And then we pull all the way back, and it's just the guitar with the oboe in the distance there, flute, violin strings. And then it's like a slow, settled back. Yeah. 5 beats a measure into 6 beats, then back to 5 again at the end, and you don't even notice. Very smooth. Yeah. Thank you for adding that. Beats and rhythm and meter is not necessarily my forte. It's not really what I, there's the classic saying that opera singers are not good counters, and I think that statement is probably pretty true, except for the very smart musician singers. Singers can be very much musicians for many different reasons, and singing itself is very difficult to do well, and to do it efficiently. But I would say that they're not necessarily known for their ability to count. There's something about singing a high note and also trying to count beats per measure. That's very hard because of the way that it feels in the brain. You know what I mean? It's pretty funny. Posy of Chrysolite. Bum, 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 1, 2, 1, 2, dun, 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 but that's something worth noticing too. Boom, 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 boom. Like that has again another. I don't think it's in 3/4, but there's another waltz quality. And the waltz is typically in 3/4. Un cha cha, un cha cha, un cha cha, un cha cha, ba da da ba ya ba da ba ya ba da 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 ba da. Right. So that has a real nice like dancing, lilting quality to it. That's really satisfying, right? The castanets add a little bit to it too. Nice to hand it off to the clarinet there, but it's funny. They always end up handing it off to the clarinet and to the flute, which is really interesting. And I think in this particular soundtrack, the woodwinds serve us really well, kind of like how they serve us really well in Mondstadt as well. Now, obviously, in Mondstadt, we have the idea of the Idols of the Wind, and we have Vent, and this other stuff. But I think that the woodwinds serve such a such a really nice, like the clarinet especially is such a warmth. You know what I mean? There's such a warmth in the soundscape of the clarinet. It's a very like brassy almost woodwind instrument, and I think it serves us really well in Fontaine, especially to feel that sense of air. You know what I mean? The sense of sunlight and stuff. There's that. You hear that? You hear the lilt again? A little bit of mystery in there. It's so nice when everything comes together, but you still get the bam 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 bam. You really don't hear castanets very often. You probably hear a lot of those in Natlan. It's a very Spanish sound quality. That's such a classic. Oh, nice. I don't think we actually resolved there on the do of the do, if you will. Luminescence of Eventide. Okay. We get the piano synthesizer there. And there's the electric guitar. This obviously has a more tender, warm sound. Right. That's the clarinet. You hear the warmth in that sound quality? Did you hear this little, that's such a nice, I'm so sorry. That's such a nice little gesture. Do you hear how it had to go somewhere? It didn't just go, it went, do you hear how we had a little bit of swell and pull back? That's actually something that really good musicians do, because if we just sit on a note, it's actually pretty boring. But if we swell into a pitch and then we pull back, it's like, it's weird. Isn't that funny? Let's listen to that one more time. And then the piano takes over. I like the way you moan. I like the way that you're hidden from this channel. People are so dumb. Isn't that such a nice little gesture? That's like a everything's gonna be all right kind of hug feeling. You know what I mean? It's just so beautiful. And I think it's really nice that it's the oboe, or it might be the English horn, which is a relative of the oboe. It's a little bit bigger, if I recall correctly. Someone can clarify for me in the comments or in the live stream. But there's a warmth in that slightly heftier oboe sound quality. Also, sorry, I mean, I hate to say it, but if you're going to act out of pocket on a stream, there's just really no reason for it. And, I love listening to this music with you so much. And, if you come in here and you try to fuck with my vibes, you're just gone. Just because who's got the time? Either be here or don't. There's no reason to be here if you're not wanting to hang out. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I say that with a smile because ask me if I care. Go ahead, ask me. No, I don't. You're in my house. Let's have fun. We gotta celebrate good music, you know? Oh, I love that. It's so tender there. Did you hear the delay? That's so exciting. Isn't that fun? Listen to that. Listen how fun that is. Hold on. And then also the slide up. There's like all these little details that we can find. Right? Isn't that? It's a little bit of sliding up in there. Right there too. Da, ba, da. These little things, I'm telling you, chat, these little things are what make this so magical. And that's what separates it from like just music that's just played for the sake of playing. You know what I mean? There's an elegance. Ba, da, ba, 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 da, ba, da, da. We don't have to do the upper neighbor. We don't have to do that pitch. It'd be fine. Right? But instead, we do the and it just makes all the difference. It separates it from being really, really beautiful, but maybe slightly. That's the difference between real musicianship and just like being good. Because if it was just on the do, I guess, would have been fine. But that is a huge musical difference. But that too, the T, so it's like suspension. You know what I mean? Right? That's really fun. I mean, this is like, again, this is the thing. Oh, it's nice, right? Ooh, a little spicy end chord there. Didn't realize we were right at the end. But again, we didn't resolve actually. We kind of, I think that was like that's like a 7th chord. Isn't it like sort of a bit of a jazz chord there? It doesn't go bum. It goes whatever. The point is that it just leaves you a little bit like, oh, right. Oh, a little bit of an eyebrow. Coruscating Street. This is track 8 for those keeping track at home. Oh yeah. Nice slow tempo, kind of not in a rhythm per se. But then we move into a rhythm. Oh, I love that. Nice arpeggiation. Oh, the sax. This is like pure jazz. Jazz bar style. There's so much Upper Neighbor, like, isn't that's nice, huh? There's just a little bit of, we don't need those things, but those things just give it a little bit of spice. It's like splashing it with a little bit of a seasoning. Really nice, but nice resolution. Nice switch up to the upper register. Call and response there with the sax and the piano. They come together. It's so short, and yet it really, you can listen to that on repeat because it does such a good job of setting a scene where you picture like a dark room with low light, a nice like velvet carpet, a tablecloth, a small table. It's kind of, you could hear like chatter. You can see, you hear drinks clinking, or you're in a nightscape, or like, you know, let's say you're in a piazza or something, and there's a fountain going off in the front of you, and you know, you get that soundscape of the piazza, and it's a real just relaxed feeling, which is quite nice. Dreams Swirling Whispers, track 9. Very different, but it's a waltz. Chunk 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 chunk. That's how you tell a waltz usually. And what is this, chat? Clarinet, guitar. That's not a normal thing that we necessarily hear, but we do hear it in European soundscapes, I would say. We each have a recap now. Now the orchestra's in. And listen to all those grace notes, yeah? Nice harmony there. I think they're moving in fifths, I believe, or maybe thirds. Now the strings take over. You hear that nice slide up? Really nice playing. Nice harmony there with the French horns. Oh, wait, did you hear that, chat? Listen to this. Listen to the way that we got that really low pressed in sound quality when we re-emphasize the chunk chunk. Where is it? Right here. I think it's right here. Listen to the counter melody, and then check this out. You hear that? That big piano. So the piano's going beam, bomb, beam, bomb. But there's a little bit of pressing into, I think. That's really cool. It's a waltz. Waltzes are in 3/4 usually. Now just imagine just dancing. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Nice sustained stuff, even though they were cascading down. If you the harpsichord in the background. Nice. So we're actually getting a subdivision. So we're having long notes occur in the violin and the strings, but then in the harpsichord is going boom bum 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 bum. It's if I recall correctly, it's subdividing. It sounds like it's subdividing. Seems like it. Oh, sorry. Subdividing is when you're breaking the note down in half. So if it's a quarter note, and if you have, this is a half note. Half notes are empty. Quarter notes are full. So the black notes and then the white notes, and then this one's a whole note. And then these two these two are eighth notes. So it just divides. So subdividing means you take a quarter note. You take a quarter note and you split it into two. So then it becomes 2 eighth notes. And then those eighth notes subdivide into 4 16th notes, and so on and so on and so on. You just continue to subdivide. So what we do in music sometimes is we take a quarter. So if you're holding usually it's a half note. So if you're playing a half note, hold on. So if you're playing a half note, what you could have is, half notes are 2 beats. 1, 2. Then you also have, that's a quarter note. So you go, it's hard to explain, but essentially that's the gist. So subdividing means you're breaking it down underneath it. So you can have a different instrument that is breaking down what another instrument is sustaining, if that makes sense. And I'm sure there's some musicians in chat that will help. And they're also called they're called semitones. I think in British English, I think they're called semiquavers. So there's like someone will explain. And yeah, so a waltz also has emphasis on 1, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Something big, short, big, small, small, big, small, small, big, small, small. You feel how like the first beat, you kind of sit on it a little bit? Boom, boom, boom. La nuit silencieuse et paisible. Yeah, the night, la nuit silencieuse. The night, silence night, and paisible. I don't know what that means, but it's paisible. Extremely jazzy. Peaceful. Interestingly, the soundtrack has actually like really, really good jazz. Like not out of place jazz listening, which is kind of amazing. Like how we got into the upper register with the piano. Isn't that fun? If Sammy was here, Samazard or 8-Bit Drummer, they could explain the really nice jazz drumming technique. Nice tremolo. Tremolo is what we call in the strings. Tremare in Italian means to tremble. Tremolo, and that's what you heard there. This is quand la lumière le splendera, when the light will be resplendent. Basically the Fontaine theme again. Welcome in, Raiders. Nice to have you. Super peaceful with just a couple instruments like that. But listen to that. Boom, bum, 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 That's fun. Symposium of spectacle. Symposition of spectacle. Love the way the piano there feels like raining almost. It really gives a feeling of waves, doesn't it? The accordion is so beautiful there. Wait. Really interesting soundscape. It's like a bubbling sensation, yeah? Lots of doubling there. With the stand upright bass. So this is Armonia of Polysynodie, which is, this is a Nouvelette's Office theme, right? Oh yeah, this is a fugue. So each instrument as it comes in starts at the beginning, and they're all going to end at the same place. I love the soundscape that they create. It's such a dense... So fun. You know, funny enough, and it was mentioned in chat, but this is the kind of piece that if you put that on the concert stage at a performance where you like stealth dropped like a Genshin Impact track, it's done in such a pure and truly Baroque fashion. A classical fugue where each instrument starts, they come in a measure later. One instrument starts, then another instrument, then another instrument, and they're all playing the same melody, and somehow they all sync up and create something that's tonally wonderful. And this piece would actually fly. No one would know. It's actually really crazy how Genshin is one of the few where I don't feel like you would need to really change much in order for it to pass as the thing that it's trying to emulate. I think other games would need a little bit of modification in order to pass as credible for a classical music audience. But in this particular case, especially, this is completely something that you would hear. You could hear this with Bach or any Baroque Handel. I think is Caccini, I believe. I don't think that Caccini wrote any fugues, but certainly Caccini was the classical Baroque time period. I can't remember all my Baroque time composers because I don't really like Baroque music, but yeah, I find that very interesting. Pluie sur la ville. Tears on the City, right? That's right, yes. This is the harp. And I find it interesting because it's really uncommon for a lot of people like this song. Apparently, it's a bit uncommon to have a harp. You really don't get. I mean, there are harp ensembles in there, but the harp is sort of a secondary instrument that sits on the side of the stage or in an opera concert or symphony or opera performance, and it plays at very key moments. And in this particular case, there also sounds like there's a bit of a mallet instrument, which sounds either like a xylophone or the upper register of a marimba. And something that's really fun about this is when we start. Sorry. Right there. Right. So that descending pattern feels very somber, doesn't it? And also I think it's a bit arresting how the harp has this warm stringed instrument quality to it that is really unique to the harp. It's not something that's very easily replicable. And there's just such an essence of it where it's very somber, right? And very tender. And then it feels like it wants to go up, but it can't. It doesn't go back up to that top part. And then here, we get chords up. More grace notes. We repeat that lower descending pattern. Then we go up as a grace note. And I think that there is a quality in that of, it's really hard to escape the sensation of puis sur la vie, right? It's really hard to escape the sensation of sadness, to escape the sensation of loss, to escape the sensation of, grief or processing a somber emotion, which is really apparent. And then we get some doubling in there too, a little bit of harmony. And then we recap it with the strings and the piano. So it's a really smart move to start it with the harp. Starting it with the harp is a really arresting sensation because it's like the harp is a solo instrument. It's playing by itself with a little bit of that accent and the percussion there, which is also really smart. And then when we come in, it's like almost like a communal gathering of sadness. And again, I think that that's also like a really nice touch. Again, we could have gone, but instead we go, and I think going up above, a big like leap up to, it's a skip up really. I don't actually know what the pitches are, but that's sort of just slightly out of the, it's in the tonal center, of course, it's in the pitch, but because it goes slightly above where you expect it, it tugs a little bit at the strings there, where it makes it feel like, just a little bit of a sense of like, now we're at a big beat emphasis. Boom. Bum. Bum. Nice, more grace notes in the piano. Da-da. Ti-do. Or whatever it is. Le fleuve secret. The mandolin. This is the hideout, isn't it? Kind of quirky, isn't it? Interesting percussion there with a little mallet. Again, more trills. Wom, bum, bum, bum. So much guitar in here too. Like nice woody sound. Lots of like chromatic steps in here too. Ba-da yada. There's a little bit, especially with that, with the accordion. Bum bum brum bum boom bum bum but there's a little bit of a cabaret feel in there, a little bit of a like a Belle Epoque sound quality, I would say, like something you would hear at like a Moulin Rouge or something. But there's a playful entity in there too. It's interesting because it's a hideout, but the music is sort of, I guess, mischievous, but I wouldn't even say it's mischievous. Like there's like a playful quality in there, especially with some of the percussion at the beginning. And much more of a, I guess it would be tango essence in there. Cakes and ale for the exiled. Is that a bass clarinet? Sounds like it. The French horn gives it a wah wah wah. That's a trombone. Again, that little twang of laughter. I love that. A little bit strange, like blues in there. I don't really fully understand that. It sounds a little bit like the Pink Panther because of the whole detective thing. There's actually, it almost sounds like a little bit of, there is a bit of a Pink Panther-y. Shoot, I forgot how that melody goes, but I feel like it's Pink Panther. But not my favorite piece, but I like it. Romaritime Recollection. Oh yeah, this one's nice. I like short, long, short, long. Oh, I really like this one. This is with that alto sax, right? I love the warmth in it. And then the crispness of the violin is still in there too. They're like playing by themselves. Almost like they're not playing together, but yeah, they are. That's a tenor sax. Nice caesura there. Oh, that's such a nice touch. A caesura is such a fundamentally important part of the music process. It's a little bit of a lift. You know, caesura looks like a double, two lines at a diagonal that are written on the top of the staff, above where the caesura should go, or even on the staff. And it's just nice to have a little bit of a reset, essentially. I love a good caesura. Da-da-ba-da-bum. It can really change a lot of things tonally, which it did here, because we have this nice little bouncing between the tenor sax and the violin there, where they're almost talking to each other separately, right? And I wonder if that's like conversation and chatter, especially because this is like the first place we see in Fontaine, right? We see the big waterfall, and then the harbor's right there as we, glide our way down there. And but I love the melody. Da 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 ya da yo. Da 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 da. Again, we go up. Ba do ba do do ba do ba do ba do. That's fun. Ba do 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 ba do 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 ba do. Right, it's just fun. It's just fun. Sorry, it's actually fun to sing. And then that's reset, rush. Boop. And then the strings. And then we reset. Welcome to Fontaine, right? Right, yeah, it's got like a We still have that melody driving us forward with the tenor sax, though. But the strings are doubling it. Slightly delayed, though. No, it's together. It's unison. That's really nice. That's such a warm sound quality. Yeah, the spizzicato from the violin is very satisfying. And the mandolin in the background, yeah. Bum, bum, ba-dum, bum, bum, ba-dum, bum. It's such a nice piece. Super short, too. What, 2 minutes? Pilot's Rest. Just so you know, this is probably where I'm going to start to back off on some of the deep, not that any of this is deep analysis. There are other channels that you can watch for like a truly deep analysis, but this is, my brain is starting to melt into, let's just like enjoy it. So we've been going for, an hour. So usually an hour is a good chunk of time for a really good dissection, but in terms of individual instrumentation and stuff. So if you see me pull back, it's just because now I'm going to start enjoying it. I'll still call out things that I like that are worth really bringing to your attention. But yeah, so you have an echo, as I said that, here I go immediately talking. An echo of what we just heard. I like that distant thing. I love that slide up to with the accordion. It's so tender. The echo is interesting too. It's like mist. It's almost like magic. The mandolin and the way that it strums, and you hear the reset of each note. It's so unique to the mandolin. Also, listen to the way that we... What is that back there? The accordion? I love that. Twinkling. Beep, beep, bum, 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 bum. I love the mandolin. And yeah, the mandolin is deeply, deeply Italian. Did you know I played the bass clarinet? First instrument I picked up. But the echoey thing is really interesting. Gives it a bit of synthetic quality. Oh, limpide et le sanglot d'eau. Wait, this means limpide et le sanglot d'eau. Water, limpide. Shit, I forgot all my French. Limpide et le sanglot. I don't know what that means. Yeah, but the bass clarinet, that was the first instrument I almost committed to. Harpsichord again. Oh yeah. The flute. I like that's, what's that? Is that 4 measures? Ooh. I like that's 4 measures. So it's the same melodic pattern, but so instead of being here, right, on the staff, it goes up. So it's the same, but it gets transposed up. Transposing means to take something here and put it somewhere else. So it's here, it bumps up, and so it's really nice because it's just what a nice. Let's listen to it again. That's such a nice melodic phrase. Oh, you hear that? Again, that's that swell. We have to pay attention to little things like this because they really make a difference. Daron Sorry, I keep talking over it, but you get what I mean. Bottom. I'm trying my best to give you as much value as I can within. That's why I only want to do disc 1 today, because the more that I can talk about this stuff, the more that I feel like I can give you some sort of knowledge so that you can take it and run with it and do your own thing with it. But listen to this swell there. It's so exciting. And then we transfer it over to the oboe now. Or no, that's the viola. It's the oboe. Now the full orchestra has it with the strings. You see how they're just taking turns playing it? Nice cascading. Oh, that's so bright. You hear the grace note trills there? Now it's full. I think the beauty here really is that, like, a lot of this stuff we don't need to do. We don't actually need to do grace notes. They're not a necessity. It would be completely fine, if slightly rudimentary, to just have it be like one set of notes or note structure. But adding grace notes, you don't need those. And yet they just like elevate it so that it's I think that's, and it's such like these little subtle things that separate amateur from professional, right? Or like proficient to really studied. Those are things that it's funny because who composed this? The point is that this is like clearly composed by somebody that understands classical structure and what fits a traditional classical style. Oh, Dimeng Yuan. Okay. Really nice. There's that glass harmonica. And just a lot of doubling harpsichord in there. Sustained. What was that? What was that? What was that? What was that, chat? What did you hear there? You hear that sustain? We talked about it earlier. That's the caesura, right? That's the caesura. The caesura, it's just the cut. And then there's a little bit of a lift. And then you see what happens. We reset, right? And that's a really exciting thing. Also, I love that your name on Twitch is Afro Pubes. I meant to say that earlier. Right here, right? Clear. And then we go back in. It's just a reset. And there is a somber cascading quality to that, isn't there? Do you think that what emotion do you get from that? Because when I hear that, it's so interesting because that's super somber to me. A bit like sad, reflecting, reminiscence, bittersweet. Yeah. You know, like that's all really interesting. But then it's interesting to me because then also, this is the most fun thing about music that I would encourage all of you to do. Like, just listen to a piece and just start dumping, because you're not wrong. Like, yes, all of us have played the game, so like all of us understand what's going on. But imagine if you just listen to it. How does it make you feel? How is this making me feel right now? How do I feel when I'm experiencing this music? Is this music connected to me because of the context? Totally fine. Can I remove myself from that experience of what it was like when I was playing the game and just feel the fact that when we hear that feels one way, and then the next section that's going to feel different than the first one because it's higher. And it also has a different sensation, even though the movement of the pitches is the same. And that's something that's really interesting that we need to pay attention to in music. And it's something that in in a rehearsal or a coaching, when we're sitting down and we're like analyzing a score, it's really interesting to analyze a score and be like, okay, well, here we're repeating a pattern. So if we're repeating the pattern, it can't be the same because it has to be interesting, not only to the audience, but also to us as performers. So, okay, this is this. So this is this. I need to think about a way for me to motivate this, either whether it's text or instruments. I only know it from a text and pitch perspective, obviously, as a singer. I know that from that perspective, that I want to make sure that it means something different for me the second time I say it. So you got to think about these things, and you can, because everybody can think about these things. Wow. See, another caesura and then an ending. I did all that talking. Could have just let the song play out. Claire de Lune. Oh, interesting. What does it sound like again? Oh, it's the same song, but just with the guitar. And the guitar has a different sound quality. Different than what the flute sounds like. Long sustained strings underneath. Moving on different beats. You hear the grace notes? Claire de Lune. Yes, the real Todd Howard's in chat. Thank you so much for the patch of Fallout 4, Todd. April 25th, we're looking forward to it. Nice, beautiful movement here. More grace notes. Shorter rhythm here, shorter pitches, shorter notes here. Rallentando. Do you know what a rallentando is, chat? Let me finish that out. A rallentando is really interesting because a rallentando allows us to slow down and really think about something. Rallentando in Italian means to slow down. And what's really cool about this is, okay, I'm in the middle of a conversation. Could you not? Rallentando is really fun because it's almost like a thought process, right? A thought process. I'm rallentandoing. Rallentando is R-A-L-L, rallentando, E-N, rallentando, T-A-N-D-O, rallentando. And so as you're rallentandoing, you are slowing down. And one idea that we need to pay attention to when we're thinking about things like rallentandos or caesuras or fermatas or all these different things is we need to consider, hey, buongiorno agli italiani, come va? When we think about, when we're thinking about musical things and why we're choosing to do certain musical things like rallentandoing, slowing down, there's something called rubato, which is like you sort of extend the rhythm and then you speed up to pick up the rhythm again. Rubato means to steal time. Rubare is to steal. So rubato is you steal time essentially and grab more time here and then pick it up later. Those all have to have motivational choices. They can't just be done to be done, right? Like a rubato is an expression of I need to let you know about how good this piece of music is, right? That's a rubato. A rallentando is I need you to understand how beautiful this music is, right? And that's something really worth paying attention to. Spring song. Really like that. It's paying homage to Tchaikovsky's Waltz of the Flowers, really? Ooh, nice harp there. Isn't that fun? Listen to that. Isn't that fun rhythmically? Right? So we like are emphasizing certain beats there. Right? It's fun. It's really fun. Nice bright playfulness there, especially with the upper woodwinds and in the hammer there. This is another one that could go on a classical music concert and be completely fine. You hear the bassoon? That's the clue. Hold on. Oh my god, I just realized something. Isn't that so fun? Listen to how the bassoon. It's like laughter. That's fun. Here too. Let me tell you a secret. Right? You hear the bassoon? We're never losing that rhythm at the top. Right? And then they come together. That's very operatic. That's Mozart. That's Mozart. Listen. Oh, that's so fun. Oh, that's like one of the best tracks in the soundtrack. Right? Yeah, that's Mozart. Holy shit. This is all Mozart. And Tchaikovsky, I guess. I love that. And that's the other thing. That's so nice. But like, listen to this musical gesture. It's just so bright. Hang on, I'll point it out. Right here. That's really effervescent. There's one phrase that sounds like Mozart, but it doesn't continue on, so it's hard to say. Where all waters converge. I have a hard time imagining that if someone listened to the soundtrack for Fontaine that they would dislike classical, music written during the classical time period, the Baroque time period. And like, I'm thinking, Mozart, Bach, Handel, Caccini, even probably Pergolesi, Mozart, early Beethoven, Mendelssohn. It seems really difficult to me. If you like this, surprise, bitch, you like classical music. Like, there's no way that you don't, because this isn't even classical adjacent. Like, this is classical. This is like, you would hear this today if you would go to a symphony, right? It's pretty impressive. And I would challenge you, not because I feel like you need to, because who cares? Like, whatever, who cares? You like classical music. Surprise. So go listen to some besides this. I guarantee it. I guarantee if you like this, you're going to like the other stuff. Go listen to a Mozart concerto for like French horn or clarinet. I forget, there's one. That is some of the funniest music. It's just so funny. It's got like a natural lightness. If you like this, I'm sorry, you like classical music. So that's an interesting transition, chat. That is an interesting transition because look, this is much faster in the piano. Caesura. Well, actually, no, we don't. Not a Caesura. Then we get the English horn. And then that's nice. It feels different with the full orchestra rather than just the piano. And the piano comes back in. That's another waltz. Again, the upper reaches here. And it does sound like Studio Ghibli. Also classical adjacent. This is how it sounds in game, Todd. All Genshin discs like this, these are all just extrapolated from the game. There's no like synthetic stuff that then they enhance afterwards. And as we're coming up on the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 songs, I'd like to make a point that I forgot, actually. I forgot what the point was. Fuck. What was the point? Dead air. What was the point? Genshin. Oh, Afro Pubes made a good point. The Genshin composers have kind of updated classical for modern musical sensibilities, I think. More accessible than classical. I don't actually disagree. In fact, I would say... fuck, I keep forgetting the point. Nice job. It's because of that name, Afro Pubes. How could I possibly remember a point with a name like that? Raven Gloss of Darkness. Same melody. Again, harp and flute. You know, a common subject I see come up is, you know, the use of EDM and whether it's exaggerated or excessive or too much, and if it will continue to go down a path that is too much. And unfortunately, it's hard because it'd be very easy to be this isn't the right word, but it would be fatalistic to assume that the team would completely abandon the soundscape. And I think I don't know if you saw my tweet yesterday, but one of the things, I don't expect you to follow everything I say or do, but one of the things that I mentioned was someone gave me shit for posting, for doing 2 songs on my video where I showed my friend Jose music. My friend Jose Rubio is in China, and he's performed in China quite a bit. And so it was only natural that I was going to show him something from Genshin, like Asdaha's theme, and then Divine Damsel of Devastation, because he's seen Peking and Beijing Opera. And and he has experienced singing in Chinese. And someone was like, you can't, Genshin's not very good. And I said, I don't care if you even like Genshin. Frankly, you don't have to like it. You can think it's terrible. You can think gacha mechanics are shit. You can think FOMO's ugly. You can think that the story is bloated. You can think that the characters are uninteresting. You can think all these things. And I welcome you to think that. But what you can't say is the music is bad. It's simply impossible to think that. What's interesting to me is I think some of it's recency bias, but this doesn't sound far off from what we've heard before. What we heard with Mondstadt, what we heard with Liyue, and I can't really count Inazuma I really can't count. Essentially, the soundscape is basically the same. I think one thing that we could be maybe concerned about, and again, this is even like really stretching it to find something to discuss, is maybe we could be concerned with it sounding too much like classical adjacent. So losing some of that semblance of its uniqueness that I think that Liyue brings, and I think that Sumeru really brings, and Inazuma brings. But we can't even really compare it because we're using instruments in those things, in those regions that are unique to those areas in the real world, right? Mondstadt was basically like this. This music leans very heavily on Baroque and classical influences. It makes sense that it would, because it takes place in a French, Italian, European, German, Austrian inspired world, right? So the question remains, what's going to happen in Natlan? Because Natlan is going to be a region that is going to have a different soundscape. We're going to hear percussion. We're going to hear drums. We're going to hear things that are not Western. I'm sorry, I shouldn't say that. That are not like your standard European sound quality. We're going to hear, I would assume, South American influence. We're going to hear, Spanish, Hispanic, Latino influence, and we should hear those things. So we can't, it's a funny thing because with Yu Pengchen leaving, right, that's like the core of what we've known of the music, right? And obviously it's a whole team, and it was a whole team. However, we can't really dictate or consider what something's going to sound like regionally until we get the soundscape. It's impossible to know. And it just so happens that this was the first project that was just the Hoyo Mix team that wasn't including Yu Pengchen. And it does sound classical adjacent. It does sound like it's a little bit maybe borrowing too much from what we've already heard, so therefore being generic. I'm not saying this is my opinion. I'm just saying that's something I'm considering and thinking about, right? So I'm going to be really intrigued to hear what it's going to sound like when we go to a new region that isn't your standard European classical style. You know how I feel about Genshin's music, and if you don't, I'm going to tell you. I don't think EDM serves us in Genshin's world, but we've heard EDM with Raiden Shogun. We've heard, and we heard it a little bit with Scaramouche, which makes sense because of the characteristics of that character. Raiden Shogun, EDM trance makes a lot of sense for the character. Signora's theme doesn't use EDM. Did it need EDM? No, because that had a specific soundscape with an electric guitar, right? And that is what makes that interesting. Asdaha's theme, ancient Chinese, had the Erhu, had a traditional Western sound, and an Eastern sound. East meets West, really, really fitting for that boss theme. Tartaglia has EDM because when we see Tartaglia Phase 3, it makes sense that he would have EDM. So there's some, some discussion on a certain character that we're not going to get into, and I'm very intrigued to hear. I heard a little bit of that weekly boss theme at the 4.6, and if you don't know this, your boy Dvorak is coming back. That was announced at the live stream, 4.6 live stream. I expect all Harbinger themes to have a degree of EDM because of phases. But if it's just thrown in there for the sake of just being in there, that's when I personally am going to be like, The Devouring Narwhal theme, frankly, I thought that the EDM in there was kind of interesting and kind of had a point. It would have been interesting to not have any. So I think it's a really interesting, like, what's going to happen? A little bit like, oh no, because we know that Honkai Impact 3rd has EDM and Honkai Star Rail has EDM. Let's wait and see. I'm really curious. But I think it's going to be tastefully done. Le spectacle doit continuer. The spectacle has to continue. Nice waltz. It does have Final Fantasy 9 vibes. Yeah, I could hear that. It's got like Limblum sound, Limblum town city. Really cool to hear the organ in this way. We don't normally hear the organ in this fashion. You could even say that maybe this theme belongs to the mécanique, what's it called? The thing that produces the ticket. But there's a bouncing in there that's really interesting too. Oratrice mécanique d'analyse cardinale, right? Shun, shun, shun. Yeah, that's... Nice tremolo there with the timpani at the end, which gives it that real like regal quality. I would say that that is probably, with exception, I feel like that is probably the piece that requires context the most of this entire soundtrack. That with the soundtrack is way more interesting. With the drama and the whole function of the trial and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, is way more poignant, I think, in context. Out of context, it's just a nice little waltz. It's whatever. The Oratrice's verdict. And this is nice because we never quite know what's going to happen. And that lilting up is the sound quality of like, oh, what's going to happen? This is the Oratrice's verdict. What's going to happen? You really sense that, right? beautiful. Again, going up like that's really fun. And that's interesting. Notice how now the oboe is taken center stage, but what's really fun is that the cello is actually still sort of being like, but I have something to say. It's almost like everybody's getting a turn to speak, but the cello is underneath it, still being like, oh, I feel like I have something I have to say, right? Listen to that. You hear that? There it is again. I find the chorus here interesting. Just nice vowels, so they're really part of the instruments. And then here's the organ. Oh, it ends like that. It ends in a question. It ends in a, what's gonna happen? Oh. I like the clues music. Again, I think this piece fits really well with the context of trying to solve a puzzle. That's the celeste, which is really cool. Boom, shung, shung, shung. That's fun. And then the low upright bass gives it a little bit of the jazz in there. I wonder what the celeste represents, that bright quality in the back. Really like the guitar in here. You really feel the tension in the violins. It resolves in such a jazzy way. Whatever chord, that sounds like a seventh chord, so it plucks out like the boom, boom, boom. Sensational sentence. Isn't this what happens to everyone's favorite young man here? Yeah, it is. Yeah. Tremolo on the strings. A little bit of a fatui theme in there, actually. Sort of split up, broken down. You hear like the tonal center, this tonal pattern of it a little bit. That bassoon bar. You hear the cascading down stuff. The bassoon is funny though. It's a little incredulous. Dissonance. Lots of sustained notes now. What's gonna happen? Sustained notes. What's gonna happen? That bassoon just randomly. You see the bassoon cascading down. There's a buildup in the timpani at the very end. Again, that track in context is great. Deductive rendition. The ticking clock. You don't need me to explain this. Oh no, ba-ding. It sounds kind of out of place. This really feels like a 1990s like TV drama. 1990s. That piece is just like sort of there. The distortion is so interesting. It makes you feel like you're seeing through a haze, like nothing's quite exactly what we think. Isn't this the Vernache? What's her name? I was just trying to help her. She was sick. Vachier, yeah. Help me find my beloved. I like it because it gives like a misty flashback sequence where it's like, you know, when you get the fog visually, it's kind of like you can make music sound like that with this sort of like, you know what I mean? My friend Tony Waldman played Vachier, actually. Je sais le nom de l'étranger. I know the name of the stranger. Je sais le nom de l'étranger. Oh shit! That's this music. Oh, this sounds like this sounds like Beethoven's Fifth. I think it's dum shun 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 ba da 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 dum dum da 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 da. Is it 7? It's 7, yeah. 7 movement, what, 4? Movement 2? I can't remember. Just rhythmically, I don't think. Second, yeah. Caliginius Hearthfire. It's pretty. Well, with that, chat, I will be bidding you adieu. We will see each other next week, next Monday, for disc 2 of this Fontaine of Belot. As we get closer to 4.6, of course, we will be live streaming naturally. We will be listening to my voice lines, checking out Dvorak, listening to doing the weekly boss fight, exploring Arlecchino's story, and so on and so forth. Thank you for hanging out. No, I'm not single. I am engaged to a wonderful, wonderful Filipino woman, the love of my life. I will see all of you next week. Thank you so much. I hope you found this insightful and interesting. Do take a listen to some of the musical terms discussed here today. And as always, thank you so much. And I'll see all of you later, okay? Bye. Bye-bye.